Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome once again to Game Masters right here on the GDQ Hotfix. And we've got an awesome show for you today. Before we get into it, reminder everybody, HDQ, it's right around the corner. It's going to come up way sooner than you think, and registration is live for HDQ 2024 right now. So if you'd like to attend the event in person from January 14th through the 21st, head on over to gamesdonequick.com for more info, including attendee registration, hotel, and hotel booking. Be sure to check out the schedule at gamesdonequick.com/schedule. Let us know what you're looking forward to the most. And with that, we've got a runner who is going to be in HDQ 2024, because I am joined here by Keel's Little Monster, who's going to be giving us a run of Forspoken. But first of all, congrats on getting into HDQ 2024, Keels.
Thank you, and/or I'm sorry.
Now, what game are you going to, like, we're going to play Forspoken game. What are you going to be running at HDQ?
I'm going to be running 15, and I'm not going to lie, when we were setting up, I was kind of going to, I was thinking about just like loading up 15 and then sitting here and waiting for like to see if anyone would be like, Kios, you're not running that today. I was like, oh, I'm not?
Love it. Anyway, so Kios, you're a fan of ARPGs, I can tell, you know, GDQ FF15, you know, I consider that an ARPG, and today we're playing Forspoken, which is another ARPG. Is there something about like this genre that just really appeals to you?
I'm not gonna lie, yeah, it's in terms of like casual enjoyment, I honestly really just love free-flowing like RPGs. Like that's kind of where my comfort lies. But I think honestly, because I got into speedrunning watching a guy by the name of Skate for a living from many years ago and running Final Fantasy 12. It's just I became like really, really comfy, I think, with open world action RPGs. So just kind of like this fell into my wheelhouse, and I was lucky enough that a game that I spent tons of time on was made by the same developers. So it just kind of like I already had a little bit of a step up on this.
Yeah, I love like action RPGs in particular, because it does really combine a lot of the things people like about RPGs. And then like also we generally see like a lot of like cool movement associated with them, which is another like awesome thing to see optimized in speedrunning, which everybody's going to get a taste of here.
I love good movement. There's actually quite a few games on the GDQ list that are like really good movement games. The especially the Halo co-op run, that's going to be pretty neat.
Oh yeah.
Was there a Borderlands run too, I think, that got accepted?
I'll have to go check the full schedule. I don't have it completely memorized just this second. Maybe Chad can help us out there.
Yep.
I was worried. It's like I'm just excited Kios is in. Now, Kios, we're running Forspoken. Tell us a little bit about the category everybody's going to be seeing here tonight.
So I have the quote-unquote true ending category. For those of you that are super unfamiliar with the game, you basically get a choice at the end of what I would call like, I think it's chapter 11, where you can either just shrug, go home, and call it a day, or you can do the true ending and fight the final big bad with the help of a very special person and save the day. Hooray!
I mean, that just sounds like the correct decision. I'm glad we're doing that today.
Yeah. I mean, like, I've definitely been like, this run isn't really good right now, but it would be a PB in any percent. I'll take it. But that's, awesome. I don't know. I just like doing the full runs.
Now, last thing. What's it like owning a ferret?
It's so wonderful. Especially mine, because she's so sweet. Like, every morning, I wake up and I say, good morning, Doodle. And like, she'll like stretch and crawl out of her cage and then give me kisses, which is weird. I've never actually met a ferret that licks people, but like, I guess that's her thing. Yeah, super weird.
Awesome. Well, Kios, I don't want to keep you any further from the run, so let's go ahead. I'm going to pass it over to you. We've also got a lovely commentator here to help us out a little bit, calling all the action as it happens on your screen.
Yeah, I brought my friend Lizzie. Hi, Lizzie.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lizzie. I'm basically here for moral support more than anything. Kios runs this a lot more than I do these days.
Well, I mean, hey, you help approve runs, and you've definitely put some time into it.
Very true, very true.
But no, Lizzie's been around this game since it came out. I did as well. Took a little break because I was doing all sorts of ridiculous things with 15, but decided to come back. I guess big shout outs to, I believe it's Mystical, who has been running the wheels off of this, and Chloe Price, who is a German streamer. She put a lot of time and effort into routing this in like the very early stages as well. So definitely a lot of cool contributions and refinements of the run.
Wonderful. Well, Kios, whenever you are ready, feel free to give us a countdown and let's get this started.
Alrighty, cool. Just checking settings. We are going to be running this on easy because honestly, the only change with difficulty is the enemies just become HP spongy. That's cool and all, but like, I don't really want to do that. Basically, the main settings we're going to have here are just making sure I have no slowdowns whenever I'm doing anything. So we'll go to new game, and oh yeah, that's right. I might have to talk over some of the dialogue in this game can be a little spicy per se.
It's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Everybody, it's just for the artistic merits of the game.
Yep.
Some things need to be said. Don't worry about it too much, Chad. It's all gonna be fine.
There we go. Sorry, I had to disable something on my end because people can't stop abusing things. I never trust my community to behave. Anyway, we are gonna get going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Yeah. Coming out of the gate, though, we are going to be joining our main protagonist, Frey, in the courtroom. Unfortunately, we've been a bit naughty. Although, realistically, I feel this might have the... It might be an argument for a Christmas game. I already have the factually correct opinion that Parasite Eve is one of the best Christmas games of all time.
Dang it! Did I mess up the timing of having the possibility of having this on in December? Gosh, dang it!
I was gonna say, if you want to reach out to, probably Crazy Awesome would be a good person to reach out for if you want Parasite Eve over Christmas. He's a tremendous runner of that game and has routed like so many ridiculous categories.
Let's keep in touch about that.
Yeah, definitely. There's I spent a lot. Actually, that was like, I think it was like the second game I learned is like a speed run. And that, to be honest, like I will always have a deep appreciation of that game, especially as a speed run, because it's like a great jumping off point for learning like action RPGs and like regular turn-based RPGs, and everyone is just in my way. Wow. Just because like there's a little bit of menuing, there's a little bit of like movement-based tech, there's turn-based tech and like learning stuff like that.
Get the fuck back here, Frey!
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. But this is our little intro to our main character.
I gotta find a way out of here.
And just kind of like your quick little tutorial of like showing you, well, how movement's gonna be. We got a sprint button, we got a jump button, we got some foul-mouthed teenagers. It's, honestly like living in New York City. I don't know. I live in Philadelphia, a far superior city.
Oh no.
See, this is basically, a day in the life of Philly. Fighting behind a dumpster, jumping chain link fences. It's really not.
So are you, do you have like a lot of like free running experience, Kios? Is this basically you right here that we're seeing in the game?
Almost there.
I did.
Okay, I didn't expect to actually answer that question.
Yeah, I can give you literally the exact time and date. I remember I was like 16 or 17, and at the time I was like really like starting to get into the electronic music scene. So this is 2 2006, 2007. So like the world is just starting to get high-speed internet. Like we have the emergence of videos that are, you know, greater than a 240p resolution. And I remember watching this video of like, I'm pretty sure it was Serbian freerunners just doing ridiculous stuff to a mashup of Rob Dugan's Club to Death and Booga's Belson's Breakdown. Don't ask me why, like, I have that specific memory ingrained in my mind, but like, you know, what exactly does one use a brain for anyway?
I do love all of the ridiculous. Everybody in chat probably has this. Give me something that's like just like oddly specific that you can't forget for any reason. Like there's always that one thing. Like for some reason I remember what I had for Thanksgiving dinner 15 years ago. You know, I don't remember what I had for lunch today, but I remember that one.
Finally, the blaze that
I had a nap and peanut butter banana pretzel banana bread. Well, peanut butter chocolate banana pretzel.
My God.
Banana bread that I baked.
Oh, I'm so hungry.
Help yourself. It's in the kitchen.
Yeah, chat, can you make me one? Thanks. Now, Kios, how did you find this ladder? I don't see any yellow paint or white paint all over it.
I'm not sure how to feel about that discourse. I will say this game does have tremendous accessibility options. If you are someone that has is colorblind still the correct political term? Or is there like a, I don't know, I'm old. I'm a boomer.
Colorblind is still a thing, yes.
Still a thing. I'm pretty sure this steals the color blindness sliders from FF14, where it has like different scales of like if you're, what is it, like red, green, or blue, purple. So it actually has a surprising amount of accessibility options, which I can appreciate.
Yeah, it's always good to see more and more accessibility options being like taken into consideration for game development these days, because it used to be really bad. Like games 10 years ago, like are lucky to have like anything at all.
A brightness slider.
And yeah, you got a brightness slider if you're lucky. And like today we get so many options, so it's an awesome direction that we're heading in, and good to see Forspoken also, you know, takes accessibility into account. That's awesome to hear.
Damn.
I don't know. I don't know, human. I'm just curious. It doesn't cost much to just make sure. So, first chapter done. We've got our little intro, and now we've got our friend, Mr. Cuff. So we have now been isekai'd without a truck. Without a truck. But we do have a Cuff, and he somehow has basically just taken over our senses in a way that helps us. Oops, I was one step short, forgive me.
Stop talking. This is completely insane.
Yeah, I definitely did struggle a little bit with this game when it first came out, but that just kind of more and more, like, I understand, like, getting things to PC is quite a challenge these days, just given like we're kind of at a point where the main OS is starting to transition. We're in the middle of like 2 or 3 main developmental generations in terms of both CPU and GPU architecture. So it's definitely a bit of a challenge. I do, again, have to give Square Enix and Luminous at least the benefit that they basically didn't, you know, release it and then say, well, here it is, it's good enough. Oh, it's broken, sorry. This has received, I think, Lizzie, do you know off the top of your head? I think this has had at least 7 or 8 updates. And one of them was like really big. Like it was a huge optimization update that really changed. Like I remember a lot of people were like, yo, these system requirements for PC are whack.
I do remember that.
Yeah, they really hammered it down. Unfortunately, as disk space wise, I think it's down to about 110, which is still a lot. But I'll be honest with you, one of the downsides of like games that run on the Luminous engine is storage space wise, they really don't compress well for one reason or another. signed someone who installed Final Fantasy 15 back in the day when it came out at 110 gigs.
Woo! All right. I hope the 64 gigabytes that are going to be coming in Switch 2 are going to be enough.
Listen, as much as I really hope there is the Switch 2,
Looks like. I wonder how.
I'm still in shock that Nier Automata runs at a borderline playable level on the Switch. Like, as
Developers have
like,
really done some magic.
I don't know how. Signed someone who was a speedrunner of that game for a year straight, and like even on a decent PC could not get 60 FPS lock.
See, this is what you do what I did, and I ran that game on an Xbox,
Mm-hmm.
so
There you go.
it just worked.
Oh, we've been introduced to our secondary magic skill. We have support magic now, which is pretty cool. And we're also introduced to surge magic. Think of it as basically like we have our direct attack on the right trigger, and then on the left trigger we got like little support spells that either like crowd control or area effect. And then when we've done enough damage and built up our special meter enough, we get like a special explosive attack. But we're gonna continue our witty banter, and we get our main movement skill, which is the parkour. I like to think a lot of the effort that went into the movement in this game is kind of like the same way like I loved 15 for what it was.
For so much rest too.
That a lot of the ideas and development that went into it end up making better products down the line. Like a lot of the combat and movement for 7R was definitely learned from experiences with 15 and 14. But I'm really hoping in late future we'll see some cool stuff from Square Enix focusing
did
more
you
on
just
this
say
movement.
lay future?
Yeah. I'm like also in the back of my mind trying to remember when I have to speak over some of her rather unsavory lines. So
Yeah, fair. I do appreciate that up until this point, at least, like we're still just in the Philly street clothes, just running around.
yep.
This movement is so dang fast. Kind of like not what I expected. I've seen a little bit of this game prior to this, but for an ARPG, you feel so dang fast.
It gets better once we probably about another like 15, 20 minutes into the run, we get an ability that basically allows us to combine the sprinting with jumping, and it gives you a speed boost on top of it.
Ooh, can't wait for that.
Yes, it's super fun.
All right,
Yeah,
Dragon's my favorite.
Yep. I'm going to say hi to this dragon. We're basically going to use charged magic for the most part with this run, due to the fact that, well, it hits pretty hard and it does a great job at building the surge magic.
Wait, there was still like 70% of the health bar. Where did it go?
Yep. Oh, it's charge magic is really good, and then it also one of the things that it snuck in when we were fighting that big bear and introducing the surge magic is it teaches us about killer blows, which are basically, think of it as one would with a lot of modern games now. You get a stun bar, and this would be like your big critical attack, or like a parry riposte, depending on what kind of video games you enjoy. Yeah, I've actually been
you'll
impressed
notice
with
that
Square
that's available.
Enix with their PC ports as of late. Go ahead.
I was gonna say you'll notice that's available if you're eagle-eyed when an enemy is like staggered or knocked down. There's gonna be like a triangle button prompt, and that's the no to like go ahead and use your like critical attack, and it gives you a window before it disappears. So
Well, they're very angry.
Look like we'll have much cover here.
So we're gonna perform one of my favorite strats in action RPG speedrunnings, where we take the intentional death. On every game that I've run that's like modern has like one of these, like failing a quick time event. It just ends up working out faster. Like, yes, you can fight the dragon and win if you really want to, but it's just slower. While we're here, I need to fix this. So basically what I did was I had cranked the damage I received like to the absolute maximum just for literally that encounter, so I can get knocked down with like one attack. And just swap it back to what it normally set at. So unfortunately for us, even though we have been isekai'd, we now have found ourselves in court again. And you know what? I swear it was not my fault this time. I would not ever tell a lie about that. Had nothing to do with it. It's all Lizzie's fault.
Would it be an isekai if you didn't go to court?
Are they speaking English?
Like, this goes all the way back to Chrono Trigger, you know? What happens when you go get isekai to the you go to court. That's what happens.
Speaking of Chrono Trigger, I know it's not what we're playing, but have you, in terms of action RPGs, had a chance to take a look at Sea of Stars?
I have taken a very brief look, as in I saw some people talking about it in a clip or two, and that's it. I've heard it is very good, though.
Incredible
a couple
soundtrack.
of my friends have been streaming it, or streaming when it came out, and people were pretty happy about it.
It's a nice blend of Chrono Trigger meets Super Mario RPG. With the same, just absolutely ridiculously good soundtrack.
Love it. Because getting the soundtrack, I feel is so critical for an RPG these days, especially. It's hard to do. It's really hard to do. So
I will say Square Enix has been like one of my favorites as of like the last installations of video games that they've done that I've really kind of sunken my teeth into. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's kind of like how I feel about this game, Melodia. Like, there are some like very small nitpicks I have with it, but overall, I really kind of enjoyed the end product of it. And given that you're basically given an open world RPG, it is kind of what you make of it. If you're just gonna like speedrun it and plow through like the story like we're doing right now, it might not be your favorite game. But if you enjoy like big open worlds that reward you for looking at the environment unconventionally and exploring and doing all the little itty bitty side quests, there is so much cool stuff. Like Lizzie and I were talking previously about the cats. Lizzie, how cute are the cats?
Oh my goodness, they are the greatest thing ever. They are my favorite part about this game. And you so callously skipped through the cutscenes at the very beginning. I understand why, speedrun and all that, but I do want everyone to know that I do not run this specific category because the very last thing we do before leaving to get isekai'd is we hand off our cat Homer to the judge to be taken care of for a couple days.
Yep.
And if you choose to stay here and fight the big baddie at the end, then you're like stuck here, and I want to go save Homer. So I always I do the easy ending.
We love Homer. But yeah, there's like there's a side quest. There's like, and the game doesn't force you into it, but you can literally just like collect all of the Tanta's familiars, and they're just like these cats that float around whenever you go to like a rest area, and sometimes they'll like bring you upgrade items and like little health potions and stuff. They're it's like just like a weird little thing that like, I don't know, like it's one of those things that, you know, there's a dedicated Twitter account to it. Like, can you pet the dog? Can you play the chat? Oh yeah, the VAs for this game are really cool. I was Frey's voice actress showed up in my chat and was like super cool. And she's like, yeah, it was like honestly my first big project. Same thing with Cuff. Like they had like one or two like not like, you know, writing off their previous projects, but like it wasn't like they're starring in a AAA video game. They had like a mid-sized role in an anime, but both of them, like, this was their first major project, and I think they did tremendously well. Jonathan Cake and Ella Belinsky are the two the main voice actor and actresses of the game.
Now, I figured out some lore, at least a little bit of lore. You know, I've never played this game, but I'm slowly understanding everything that's going on. So, we skipped the whole courtroom scene.
Yep.
So I don't know exactly what happened, but I theorize what happened is we got arrested for violating the dress code because we were in like the Philly clothes, right? And then after the court session, right, we got the little cloaks, so we're, you know, dressed more appropriately for this environment. But then we lost it again, so now we just have the hood. So we're just gonna get captured again at this rate. Like, you need to go, like, you know, change your dress ASAP.
Yep.
Anyway.
The actual story rundown is we have been teleported, and because we survived the break, which
That's that blue storm that we fought the dragon in.
yeah, which brought the dragon in. What we have in this land, which is called Athia, this game was formerly known as Project Athia.
Thanks.
Um,
We are close to where I
We
Come
are
on,
like
have
the
faith.
only person in years that has survived the break, and we just kind of showed up at town. So
Bit of a half-hearted.
obviously that's a little weird. So we have been tried, without making the Monty Python joke, as maybe perhaps being a witch. And our friend,
We can
I
speak
guess,
freely here.
friend Alden here, decided to basically just spring us from jail. Yeah. Because she
My father was a notable
thinks that
cognizant.
maybe we can help with the break, which has been consuming the lands, basically.
This is my home.
And Sepal is one of the only kind of cities left, realistically. If you're familiar, here, I'll make a 15 analogy. If you're familiar with 15, when the darkness was taking over, or in 16, where the crystals were destroying the land.
Some chance is better
Same
than
concept, you know.
I do not want to go back into that hellscape.
Come
But
on,
we're gonna
you'll
hang
be
out.
fine.
Auden's gonna show us her
I'll
home.
leave you after all.
I have to
Not
wait for her
comforted.
while Cuff and I have a discussion. We're gonna look at her paintings. It's really nice, really cute family. Yellow's a good color on her, to be honest. Yellow's not a good color on me. She turns you into a newt. Did you get better?
I hope so. I mean, you're here talking, so you at least have fingers.
Ducks float. Anyway, she's gonna basically give us the rundown of like, hey,
this
here's
then?
kind of like what's been going on. Here's my dad's
tell me?
journal. Her dad was a cognizant. So he kind of studied the break,
These are his-
but he's also kind of been not here for a while. The last he was seen, he was over at the guild, but
Prepare a
like
change of clothes for you.
it got overrun by
You're a lifesaver.
the break. So
Yeah, he's
I
presumed
guess
dead. at this
basically
point.
we're gonna have to go take a look for him.
You have another.
Little itty bitty rocks do float. Wood does as well.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I know I'm
The
referencing
physics
something.
engine truly incredible in this game.
Yes. I have such a soft spot for the Luminous engine. And I think it's just because, like, I don't want to say Stockholm syndrome in like a negative circumstance, but like, I think I've just been exposed to it and just really learned all these very strange intricacies of it. It's kind of like learning like a coding language. You just become so familiar with it, you just kind of default to it. Yeah, I did. Shadows are turned down. If you're actually super interested, I think I'm running this on a custom setting with DLSS to keep the frame rate up and just everything kind of on low. If you crank this game just like any other Luminous product, which would be 15, it's jaw-droppingly beautiful. So we're gonna meet this little scamp by the name of Olivia. We're gonna tell her that we're pretty famous and notorious, and she'll be like, "What does that mean? That just the guards are looking for you?"
Do you know who
She
I am?
is a little smart hiney, and I do not appreciate that sass, and I do not need it. I am busy trying to get back to New York. So she's going to give us a little rundown of the crafting
Yes.
crafting mechanics in the game. It's nothing like super crazy. Just, you know, like make your own health potions. Like, hey, you can do a little bit of a upgrade, which we're going to take advantage of here. I'm going to just throw purple magic, which helps me do a little bit more damage, and critical hits can boost attack. So basically, we just do a little bit more damage when we get a crit. She has a cool flower crown.
You do that.
Also, if you skip that cutscene, right, it just flows flawlessly of, hey, yo, shorty, yeah, you do that. Telling her to draw on the ground with her chalk. But we now can finally make our way to the Cognizance Guild. This will be our first little exercise, first introduction to kind of the movement of the game as a whole. I really wish you could, like, you know, parkour through the entire, forgive me, through like the actual cities, but they're not really keen on that.
Yeah, law enforcement would get you.
Yeah, every time. Going too fast. Here come the speed police. But we're going to have a little bit of combat here. Basically just kind of introduce you to like what your main average mob is going to be while you're out and about. And they're just kind of, they look like normal peeps that unfortunately were just kind of caught in the break. But it is like a good little introduction to like how the enemies are going to work. Like, not like a, here's how every enemy in the game is going to function, but like, here's your average mob, here's what they're going to do, here's how they're going to work, kind of a deal. It's also going to introduce us to these cool little shrines. I don't know if they're technically shrines, I forget what they're called. Oh, it's a Fount of Blessing, where we will unlock some skills for free. That's right.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Oh, free. Unforgivable. That's the third time I've had to reference that in weeks. But that is going to give us the leap ability, which allows us to basically kick off of vertical walls, which is really nice because we'll need that to climb some stuff.
I'd say this new outfit is killer.
What was that?
Oh, there are some really cool like DLC outfits. With the cloak, like there's one that's just cats, but yeah, no lie, like I'm a big fan of the cloak and like some really cool arm accessories. Oh, you got a coupon? Yeah, we got coupons.
Capes may not be practical, but they are heckin' cool.
Capes always give you a plus 10% cool factor. Movement isn't like super technical quite yet because we don't have the next ability. I am going to grab some of this here mana pool though. That is basically just what we use for the skill tree. I'm just going to move us this way. There are a few of these landmarks out here I kind of want to avoid because otherwise we get that, you know, the usual like, hey, it's your first time seeing this thing. Have a little, you know, 5-10 second cutscene introducing what they are. Keep an eye out for these. I will tell you, those in particular have some really cool gear. They're like basically little dungeons you can crawl into. The thing I passed on the right side is a stat shrine, basically. It'll give you like extra HP or like a +5 to magic for basically unlocking it and breaking the break off of it as one would. We're also going to pass one of these guys. It's just like a, think of it as a field boss. It's basically what they are, like a little tough durability, a little bit heckin' stronger version of the normal enemy you'd find out in the wild. But very quickly, we have already made it to the Cognizance Guild.
Looks like this nice.
I don't listen to the rules, so I'm going to actually, for some reason, you can like speed dash into like the first part of that, and you also run like really quickly up these stairs, like faster than you should.
Didn't come this far yet.
I can't move that fast.
Journals might be here.
Yeah, while we're out here, we are basically looking for these journals to try and figure out where Auden's dad is. He is one of like the only people around that honestly knows much about the break, and in terms of like beyond like, oh, break bad, stay away from break, causes bad things. Like, he's been researching it and trying to figure out what makes it happen and why, and like why people teleport and why some of them corrupt. It's very interesting. Like, I'm not going to say like the story particularly blew me away, but like the way it kind of unravels the characters and like kind of shows like how the game progresses is really nice. We're going to get introduced to Nails. Heck yeah, having really cool nails. And you get Blue Flash on one and Slay on the other. I didn't name them, but I think they're pretty cool.
Okay, nails aren't really my thing.
Nails aren't really my thing either, but let me tell you, every once in a while, it's nice to have little scritchy claws.
Speaking of claws, what's it gonna take to get cats on screen here?
Whose voice that was?
What would it take?
I would need to find a way to get a capture. You know, I could probably do it. I have a spare webcam that's plugged in.
Oh, I was thinking in-game. In-game.
Oh, in-game? We get to
The
see
floating
Homer at
cats
the
you
end of it.
mentioned. Yeah.
So, first fight here. We're going to use the support magic to hold everybody in place, and then I'm just going to charge shot him around. I also used one of my other support magics, which is that little plant vine. It's a good little plant and spits magic everywhere. I'm going to try and line this up. Woo! Okay, so it looks like I only have one that actually avoided damage, so that's actually pretty good. It's kind of tough to get those enemies to all just get out of the way. Well, not out of the way, but rather line up. I love nails. Scritchy.
Okay, we gotta.
Cool. So we have actually found Breakbob. That's what the calamity was. And those people that showed up are Tanta Sila's kind of, how would I describe them? Perhaps warriors is the best way to describe it. And they are very not pleased that someone else can use magic in this area. So obviously she is not going to have a good time. Now, Tanta Sila is kind of she was basically the one that kept the town of Sepal safe. Unfortunately, with the imposition of the break, the Tantas unfortunately have gone from like protectors to despots. I'm trying to think of like the correct actual way to describe it. I guess despot would be the word. They basically rule with fear and absurd amounts of violence and power. So she has got our girl Auden captured. We're going to show off that we can use magic, and she's going to disappear and bring about one of her little minions. And goodly for us, we know that these things have a weakness right there on their wings. We'll get a nice little stun here too. And there we go. I'm also going to try and you get a little, just like in real life, you get a little bonus from hitting on the sides and from behind. Very good there. Very clean fight. Nothing too unfortunate. But unfortunately, yeah,
this game legend still looks so cool. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, it's totally fine. It's totally fine as I'm trying to like stumble for the words I need for it. Unfortunately, they kind of like burned down part of the city, and not like the nice part of the city. So they kind of, displaced a bunch of the less fortunate people. So now we're basically going to have to sit here and kind of think about, all right, well, what are we going to do? And basically the option that we're presented with is, well, it's really not cool that Tanta Sila is out here, killing people when she's supposed to be protecting us.
Right.
So we're going to have to see what we can do about that. We are now going to make our way down here. We're going to meet our #1 fan. His name is Pilo. I sometimes call him Pilo Pants, the Clerks reference. But he's an all right guy, I guess. He's actually pretty cool. But we're going to go find Robian. Unfortunately, I think Robian's quite a silly name. We refer to him in game as Break Bob, and Break Bob's having a rough moment here. Unfortunately, as you maybe may have saw as I make this wonderful input mistake, half of his face is kind of looking like this tree, and unfortunately, that's a side effect of his research with the break. Kind of leading to half of his body and part of his brain being, affected by what can only be described as, interdimensional travel and magic. So he stared into the abyss one too many times. So his thoughts and actions aren't always the most easy to understand. It's like kind of shouting through a tin can on a string, but somewhere beneath the riddles, it kind of makes sense. Thankfully for us, we do have access to a really cool library. Shout outs to libraries and books. They're amazing. But we're going to meet a wonderful woman by the name of Johidi. She is a no-nonsense former blacksmith. I love her quite dearly. She takes literally no one's any of it. But she is going to kind of like say, hey, here's what I know about the Tantas, because she basically made all the arms and armor for Tanta Sila and her soldiers and warriors along the way. So she has a bit of insight about like who she was, who they were, and it just gives us like a little heads up of like, hey, here's where you could go, here's some things you could do, but by all means, take a look around and learn about all of them. Oh heck yeah, reading's cool. I love reading. Like me a reader.
I look at those scrolls, and we could just all we need is a library card. We could just take those and rent them.
I'm not gonna lie, the smell of like parchment and books is definitely one of my favorites.
God, what year is your favorite? It's like I love the smell of like 1972.
I'm not gonna lie. So I guess people from my community would know, but like I am by degree a historian, and like one of the pinnacles of my life is just being able to go to an actual archive and just putting on the silly white cotton gloves and just very gingerly handling old documents. Like maybe not a highlight of my life, but like it was definitely one of those experiences, like you mentioned earlier. Like there's just something exciting about it.
Yeah, I agree. That sounds really cool. I'd love to do that. So glad you got the opportunity to do so.
Yeah. So now that we have touched the requisite scrolls, we've gotten our library card. I'm sure we can make like a PBS or like maybe an Arthur reference, or anyone in chat old like me and remember Wishbone.
I'm
Wishbone
gonna say
was
no
my
comments
childhood.
on this one to protect you.
What?
But hey, speaking of libraries, a lot of
Yeah.
them give you video games. They have movies, they have games. Heck, you may be able to find this game in your local library, potentially. Who knows?
Libraries also have internet access, which is honestly really important. Like the ability to like research stuff is so cool. My partner works with like a temp agency, and like the amount of times that like a local library has like been like the absolute best thing for someone to get a job is like super cool. Like it's not my job, but like I get excited when like she answers phone calls and people are like, oh cool, I've got a job. Hey, thanks for suggesting like going to the library of like all things. I too love Wishbone. Cool, so this is gonna be another long journey where we have to go to Praenost, and we're gonna pay. Yeah, it's a little journey, but we'll make it through pretty quickly. This is where Tanta Sila rules from, and this is like our first pretty good look after doing our short little like what I would call the intro mission. Like here's like kind of a rough layout. Now you get to see the full effect of the land and what happened to it. So we're just gonna make our way down to the valley floor here. You might notice I'm doing like there's a little I guess you would call it kind of like an air dash right before I hit the ground.
Yeah.
So that's to prevent a falling animation. Like you'll do like the quintessential superhero landing, and it the time loss. We can't have that here. Every once in a while I'll pop a jump, especially if we're like gonna go down and back up, like a little peak, just to keep the momentum flowing. Or try and time it that our stamina bar doesn't deplete when I need it for things like, climbing this rock in particular. Very close to scrubbing it.
Oh my god, the knee is the ankle fortitude of the MC.
I know. Listen, my knees hurt looking at it, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't do it.
I do appreciate in this game, most games that feature an open world will typically offer, some other type of, hey, this is how you're primarily going to move around. You're going to get a car, you're going to get a horse, you're going to get a goat horse, you're going to get an airship or something. I really like that. Just so far, it's like, no, you got special boots that make you go fast.
You got magic. There is one thing.
So much of this game's advertising was based around the idea of magical parkour. That was like the term they continue to use, was like magical parkour. So this is what you get.
I will say there is one thing that this game does, and I think the major credit will eventually go to like some other game because people won't have experienced this. It was one of the main selling points, but this game has the ability that fast travel is basically instant, and not just like menu-wise. I'm talking like literally I will open the menu at one point to fast travel back to Sepal, and by the time I close the menu, it'll be open. Like you will be exactly where you like wanted to go without a loading screen.
I've actually seen tweets starting to happen. Spider-Man 2 has a very similar immediate fast travel. And so I think people are probably going to,
Yep, Intraz gets it. Direct storage is awesome. But I think, like, to really put it out there, like, I think that's a really neat thing. Here's some fun trivia for anyone that wants to have a brain scratcher. There is one series of games that, in its inception, from PS1 to PS2, was a full quote-unquote open world / dungeon crawler RPG that had no load screens except the first one. Anyone in chat know that?
I missed that generation, so I can't help you. Good luck, chat.
Good luck. So the story in this game so far is we've been isekai'd to Athia, a magical land, with our friend here, Cuff. Now, Cuff has been granting us these magical powers that allow me to run really fast and shoot rocks and plants. But from what we have learned is this land, unfortunately, has seen some better times. And right now, there are all these horrible creatures that are affected by this magical influence called the Break. And this break has caused the rulers of these basically the main 4 kingdoms of the land to unfortunately lose their minds, and it's just real bad. Everyone's just trying to struggle. It's like 2008 all over again. But we are currently going to pay the first Tanta a visit after she very rudely came to the city where we were staying and attacked our friend Alden. Saga Frontier, Final Fantasy XIV, the original. No. If I said it was Dark Souls before Dark Souls was Dark Souls, would anyone get that reference?
More weird break-related shit.
So is it Demon Souls then?
Huh?
I think I do know that
Souls, then?
series. Is it Kingsfield?
It is, in fact, Kingsfield.
Breathing underwater?
Yeah, I've only heard the legends
Yeah.
of the long, long ago that those games once
Well, not
existed.
much is gonna surprise me after this.
Incredibly interesting and would highly recommend. Especially the ancient city. That's a trip. Yep.
Yeah, I've seen enough of this game now. Like, I feel this is gonna go the direction where your cup is the real bad guy all
That's the
along.
fortress?
I'm just feeling
Yeah,
it.
he is.
I'm really feeling it.
Yeah, he's an interesting character for sure. All right. I don't know if you have ads coming up or anything to take a break, but we've got probably about 5 minutes until we can squeeze one in, plus or minus.
All right, that would be a good time just to get up and stretch. We can do that.
Yeah, I think about
everybody
5
stand by,
minutes.
5-ish minutes. We'll go into
Yeah.
our first break of the evening, so everybody can go refill, stretch, and make sure you stand up.
As I
don't sit in a
sit
chair
here.
all day like I tend to do way too often.
As I sit here in a interesting combination of gremlin squat and shrimp pose.
Oh, it looks like you're just standing there normally to me here.
Yeah, right. So I was talking about the other movement ability. This is shimmy, and this adds a little bit more complexity in our movement. This basically allows us to pretty much bounce and accelerate by kicking off the ground, and we can chain these together. Is the game just run from point A to point B? Not so much. It is a lot of optimization of movement, but that's kind of pretty much the point of almost every action RPG or RPG in general is generally point A to point B. I just get excited because I enjoy like really seamless movement. So I'm taking full advantage of the ability to basically propel myself a little extra distance every time I hit the ground.
My goodness.
Also,
Every time,
parkour
like I'm
restored.
just like instinctively waiting for like fall damage to happen.
It's one of those things like just with 15 like or Final Fantasy X just mashing text. You just kind of get used to it. At first, it's like, man, I have to hit all these buttons with weird timings. Like, it's actually not that bad. All right, I'm gonna take this guy first. Okay, cool. We finally have the ability to counter, so I'm definitely gonna cook those up. Basically like an actual parry system. That torch unfortunately got in the way of a much needed rock assault here. And that should be just... Yep, one more.
Now, I feel we need to come up with some better one-liners for her after she dispatches some enemies.
Yeah, I mean, there is some of that. I know that was like one of the complaints of the internet. For me, there we go. I was gonna talk about how we do actually use more than one element and more than one spell. I unfortunately decided to have a finger slip there and ended up swapping away from the most powerful magic I have. That was one of those weird complaints that the internet had about like, oh, there's too much travel banter. Personally, I thought it was pretty cool. But if it does bother you, you can just turn it off. Again, accessibility. You find dialogue. What's the difficulty? It's on easy. Just for the fastest run possible. So we'll have a cutscene coming up here after I get into this little cave. Y'all want to take a break.
They're like my worst nightmare.
But this is the break storm. This is basically what has been corrupting the land of Athia. As you can see, like, things do not look good. It's like a horrible magic snowstorm. There's all these weird enemies coming out. And for some reason, we are one of the only few that are immune to the break. Like, normal person being stuck out in here, not good.
What the heck, Cuff? What the heck? Anyway, I do find it a bit ironic that the break indicates a break that we shall be taking here. So everybody, don't go anywhere. We're going to be back in just a couple minutes. Stand up, stretch, go hydrates, and there's going to be more Forspoken right after this. Welcome back once again to Game Masters. As always, I'm your host, Band_TV, and Games Done Quick is hiring. So if you are a business developer or have experience in recruiting sponsorships and would like to work for GDQ, apply at gamesdonequick.com/jobs. And if you missed out on any of our other Hotfix shows or GDQX, which happened last weekend in Vegas, was a wonderful time, be sure to check out the VODs on youtube.com/gamesdonequick. Now, Kio's had a little bit of a break, you know, and there's also the break that's happening in the game. I did it. Oh my God. Anyway, whenever you're ready, give us a countdown.
It's quite punny.
I know.
But yeah, I think I got to meet one of your biz devs in the Discord. Wonderful beans, very informative. All right, and 3, 2, 1, resume. All right, so we have escaped the break and basically made a little fire in a little cave and just kind of questioning, well, where do we go from here? And we get introduced to, well, this place has seen better days. There's a lot. So we got to get all the way up there to the castle's front gates. And the area is pretty beat up and heavily fortified. So we got to pick our movement pretty precisely here. I'm going to try and avoid certain features like I did previously. Like if I get too close to that area, it's going to be like, oh, hey, do you know about these special dungeons? They've got pretty cool equipment if you can beat the final boss hidden in it. I know they do. I just don't need it right now. And we're going to not break out of bounds, but we're definitely going to abuse the ability that we have to just kind of jump off of certain areas and climb things, probably not in the correctly intended way. But, you know, that's okay. That's why we're doing this. Gonna avoid that, because I don't like taking cannons to the face, at least this week. My dad is texting me about the Phillies game. I don't want them, I want you. So we're gonna get out all of our nice magic again. This phalanx, unfortunately, held in place. Gonna hit ooh, wow, very nice counter. I was actually able to get 2 off at once because the enemy behind me decided that he'd give it a go too. And we got this one. Unfortunately, decided to get stuck on a wall there. Interesting choice. Cool. It is going to give us a little introduction to like, hey, you got another cool upgrade material. You should probably check it out. Hi, Brim. We always say hi to Brimmy.
Hello.
So, at this point, we're basically given the, the traditional... I guess this is, I would equate it to the normal, like, hey, we have to infiltrate this area. Stealth is optional, so, however you want to do it. I'm going to choose the option that's kind of actually in the middle. It's not the quote-unquote stealthiest, but for us, movement-wise, it ends up being the quickest, at least for me. You can, if you're really good at this, like way better than I am, there is a way you can kind of link together shimmies and kind of just lock yourself into 2 columns on a wall and just infinitely shimmy your way up. I can't do it, and I don't want to sit and struggle with it. So we're just going to do this a quicker way for me. Basically making our way up the ramparts, avoiding most of these enemies, and I have one little intro fight here. I'm going to keep an eye out of my movements here and see, while I'm focusing on hitting the Recreant Knight's wings, to see if I can get, you know what, those actually look good. Cool. So what I was waiting for in the background was seeing if I could get some of the other enemies to line up really nicely for me, just so I can kind of get them out of the way really quickly with little to no effort. I am going to actually save my 2 support magics. We do have a boss fight coming up, and if you can believe it or not, it's going to be TASing. I know it's so strange that we would fight the master of the castle in her own castle. I know. Be shocked. And there we go. I had to wait until I got that last little item there. We did unlock a new nail. Not really kind of worth it. Yeah, I know. The Fallout New Vegas meme, stealth is optional. So 4 mini nukes. Got it. Unsuppressed automatic. Yeah, pretty much.
Love to see it.
I do enjoy the how each of these Tantas is portrayed. Not just like the outfit design and the character design, but like they each have their own distinct kind of style. Like Tanta Olas has deception. Tanta Sila is a big, strong muscle mommy. I mean, a wonderfully strong warrior.
Why did I ever have you on this show? Oh my goodness.
This is still within terms of service, thank you. Anyway, we're gonna hit Tanta Sila with our opener here, and we're gonna get those side strikes and back strikes on this one. And I am gonna do that. We should be able to just have like 1 or 2 more attacks here, and that should push her into her second phase. But no, like their styles of combat and the magic they have really kind of matches their character design well. Tanta Sila's magic are very, very physical. Not so much about AoE, a lot of like just brute force, high, quick burst damage. And a lot of the other magics we'll gain are very, very indicative. I'm gonna wait for this nice lineup here. Ooh, darn. All right, well, she decided that I couldn't get that attack off, so woe unto me. We'll see if we can lock her in place instead. It's just a little bit more annoying because normally I can get all of them lined up the way I did, and they just kind of don't participate in this fight. So I'm just going to have to pay attention and probably rely on a lot more counters. There we go. Everybody out of my way.
Did you think that we'd let you leave here unscathed? Bring it on.
Cool. A little clunky, but we made it through.
Tell me, demon, what do you make of my blade?
Your flames are very, very warm. They are also mildly annoying, my lady.
It looks pretty cold outside, so they're kind of welcome.
Yeah, I will say the non-speedrun tech, which obviously we're just here to blast as much damage as possible, but like really getting into the fights and using like the dodge mechanics. We will make use of the dodge mechanics once we get a different set of magic that'll really kind of show off why the dodge mechanics are really cool. But for right now, I just don't have access to it. But just getting into these fights and actually having fun with them, really fun casually. And that is Tanta Sila down. Pretty clean. A little awkward, but that's kind of the cool thing of the speedrun. Like sometimes you just get like a different pattern, or you kind of have to adapt on the fly to like, oh, that magic that normally always clears that whole chamber didn't work out. All right. Active backup strat. But the good news is we've taken down evil Tanta Sila, and now I am the muscle mommy now. No, I just get her fire magic, which is actually really cool. It gives us a little bit more dimensional play. We also get a special ability out of it, which is really, really nice. Yeah, unfortunately, business decisions weren't don't get me wrong. I am unapologetically a Square Enix fanboy. They do frustrate me. A lot of their marketing decisions aren't the greatest. And I think as they've gone on throughout the years, they've gotten a little better at it and listening to the people that are actually playing the games as opposed to just the random internet person. But I really have hope for Square Enix reacquired Luminous Studios, which is pretty cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so my favorite internet talking point is oh, this is the game that killed Luminous, when in actuality I was in Japan 5 months ago. And I went to Square Enix headquarters and they were like, "Sir, what are you doing? Who are you? Please leave." No, but I went to Square Enix's headquarters, and believe it or not, for a company that went under, it was really weird. They're actually in the same building as Square Enix anyway, basically. They're in the same industrial campus area. It's literally you leave Square Enix's headquarters past the Artnia cafe and gift shop, and about 50 feet down the pathway is Luminous Studios. So it's not what everyone thinks it is. So we do have this really cool new ability because of Tanta Sila, this cool little lasso, which allows us to basically we can use it to bring enemies closer to us, as well as hit those little cool points. But I'm going to take a look at this magic really quick. I like Blast Slice. This has basically a ranged attack option. And like I mentioned earlier about direct storage and quick travel, here's our quick loading screen, and we're already back at Sepal, which was over a mile away.
Whoa. I love that.
Yeah,
Very great
pretty
load
much
times in this
Melodia.
game.
It was pretty much already a plan. The interesting thing with Luminous and their engine was it was used. It was first going to be used for 14, and they took some of the things from it and put it in 14, and then they're like, okay, we're going to use it for 15, and then they were like, yeah, okay, we'll use it for 15. 16, maybe, but you can see of the titles that Square Enix has put out over the past since its inception, there are very, very noticeable signs oh, that is something that definitely was a lesson learned from it. And don't get me wrong, that's part of the development. You develop game engines, you find something better, you learn to tweak it. I mean, and is it a very expensive and painful lesson sometimes? Yeah, but for the most part, I always got to give credit when people try something new or companies really go out on a limb to try something new. It's not always going to work. Sometimes it does. Stranger of Paradise, for example, was just... I really think Square Enix released it thinking whatever, maybe this will be fine. Having no idea that it would become this galactic meme of chaos, to the point where even their marketing team started buying in on it. And you know what? I think that's probably one of the most fun games that it had the right amount of not taking itself seriously and ended up being really fun.
Yeah, I think I remember that. When people were talking about it, it kind of came out of nowhere too. I remember, between announcements or big reveals, it's oh, it's already here. This is awesome. At least when I started hearing about it. And then
It's
kind
super
of didn't
fun.
think of anything of it. It's oh, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be terrible. Then, unironically, it's a very, very interesting, fun, silly game.
Yeah, and it has co-op. They didn't even mention that at all. I remember bringing it up a year ago to someone. And they were I'm oh yeah, it's got co-op too. What do you mean? Yeah, you can. Your friends can join you playing the game and take over your party members. You didn't know that? They're what? Yeah, it was just really solid gameplay, and a lot of that is lessons learned from how people felt about 14 and 15 and 7 remake, and just like learning tricks.
What the hell?
Yeah, 14. The main reason that Square Enix has been able to dabble with a lot of things is because of the incredibly, I think, almost unbelievable success of 14.
Not my fault.
Yeah,
So-
for sure. I don't think any. I remember the thoughts of that game when it came out. Years later, I'm playing it. Ah,
Get less shitty.
Oh, yeah, I have new fire abilities. They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
I was just about to say, I think one of the biggest mistakes that they made in this game was not giving us fire abilities as our like original magic, because the earth magic is so brown and hard to see, and you don't really get a great sense of, you know, how beautiful the game is and how cool and flowy the combat can be until you get, here we are almost halfway through the speed run, when you get your second like magic ability, which is your fire here, and it looks so, in my opinion, it just looks so much cooler that I think it would have had a better reception if the opening, you know, first third of the game was better magic.
yeah, no, I agree. Like, and I think it's like really almost an unfair criticism of say, like, because I've honestly told people like this game, like I think it really gets better once you get that second round of magic. You get something tangible, something new to mix up the gameplay loop. And like you get those like weird like, well, you know, why do I have to spend like so much time until the game gets good? And then it's like there are so many RPGs where people are like, oh no, you just got to give it like 15, 20 hours and then it really gets good, you know?
it's
And
always
like
a tough sell.
yeah, but like there are certain games where it's like a lot of like especially like hardcore, like not like hardcore, but like I'd say like the SMT series and like some of the Persona games, absolutely tremendous, but you got to put a few hours into it until it really starts to like build the story and like the gameplay and combat loop, and you kind of get into it. Listen, Kiki, we're making the mother of all omelets, Jack.
Stay strong.
I'm okay.
Sometimes you just gotta kind of redo what you're working on. So we now have the very unfortunate circumstance that the break has come to our front door, and unfortunately the lower city of Sepal is just an absolute mess. We tried to evacuate as many people as we could to the upper city here, but it's not going great. However, we do have cool fire magic now, so that's cool. It also gives us one of my favorite support abilities, which is Fusillade, which just basically gives you extra flaming spears that just kind of intermittently attack enemies without me having... Think of it like a homing crystal soul mass. There we go. There's a popular game
I
reference
hate
that people will get.
I hate that so much.
It doesn't help. I have like I just have some, I guess it's some critical analysis of Dark Souls 2 and 3 in the background is like just distraction noise. Attention division, yeah, my ADHD is pretty dope, huh?
Look, it's okay. We get it. We understand. In fact, I think I'm the only person I know that doesn't have it, so I get it.
To be honest, Kiki, I am like basically completely banned from playing MMORPGs. I've gotten a fairly decent handle on my life and being an adult, a responsible adult. But I gave up MMORPGs in college because a semester of staying up for 36 hours at a time and basically failing out of my first semester
Oh no.
was not the play. Like, it sounds all good and stuff, but like, you know, nobody wants to spend time with that person. So I gave those up about smash. God, this pains me to say it. I gave MMORPGs up about 13 years ago and honestly just haven't looked back. But that, and it's like one of those things, like pretty much everybody in my community plays it, but you know, they're all on different servers and they have different things going. And just like, I know inevitably, like, someone's going to get upset because I'm not on their server or like, you know, just so for me, like, that's my diplomatic excuse is like, oh, well, like, there's so many of you, like, I don't want to upset anybody. The real reason is because I have no self-control and I just know better.
You know, I vibe with that.
Listen, someone's got to be honest with me. And sometimes
At
it
least
has
it's
to be
yourself.
me.
Yeah, you know?
We're going to say hi to a cat. I promised there would be cats. I'll let this cutscene run a little bit.
Why are you stopping?
This is
Why
where the
are
kid
you
died.
stopping? Why are you stopping? Oh, yeah, it's because I
And this
told
is
you.
where the kid died. It's sad.
Oh yeah, our fun little friend that taught us how to craft. She
Yep.
did not make it.
Olivia did not make it. Hate to break that to you, but at least that cat's there. I will say, being a historian, you know, a lot of the reason why the Black Plague was so bad is because we left bodies lying in the street and didn't clean up. Those bodies will stay there for literally the rest of the game, and it irritates me to no end.
Just waiting for them to dissolve into nothing like the old games, the old times.
Yeah. The cats are really cool. I wish that I don't remember any of them that are on the route here. There's was
one right
one
as you
on
get
the
into
way
the
to
next
Silo.
area. There's one right as you get into the next area where the demo started.
You might
the
have to
left,
point
up
it
on
out
the
as we go
cliffs.
through.
Yeah, I can. It's sort of a slow one to get though, because you got to like jump across the canyon and then like sneak up on it. It's, you know, not the fastest thing in the world, but it is on the way.
No, you're done.
You know,
Anyway, the movement's cool now.
yeah, Cuff, you know,
Still
I was
irritated.
joking earlier, but, you know, I'm beginning to worry I'm actually right about this.
I'll take that as a yes.
Like, I do honestly enjoy like the dialogue, and it's just like I being in proximity to New York and living in Philadelphia, like, and having been a 20-something living in the city, like, uh-oh, that's not good. Did we get a crash? Pretty sure we got a crash. Yep. Okay. So I got to reload really quick. That unfortunately happens from time to time, so I'll just pop it back up. Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
All right. Well, you seem to hear first.
Yeah. It's fine. I just need to reload it. I'm not sure what causes it. I think it's literally just
You're
speedrunning.
just going too fast.
Like, just absolutely. I mean, that's what happens with 15. You inevitably reach a point where you have just pushed the game to load stuff so fast, it just kind of shrugs at you. I will say the console version of this is incredibly smooth. Like, if you have the ability to get yourself a PS5, I know there's like a long-running joke of no one
I think
can
they're better
find them,
now.
but the cool thing is I literally, I just load right back into like where I left off, which is super neat. Like, it's not like, oh, there's a checkpoint, like, you know, when we left Sepal or whatever, like it, as you enter every new area, it just leaves like a little save and puts you right back. So I will actually, while I'm falling, try and get the Discord screen share back up, which might be part of it, you know, because, you know, broadcasting a game all over the place.
Didn't mean to strike a nerve.
Yeah, to be honest, like, Square Enix PC ports have gotten, you know, they're not as bad as they previously have been, okay? I remember the Chrono Trigger port that still had,
that
like,
was
the
best.
mobile buttons on it. Like,
That is a complication.
that one,
Yeah, the last
I think
one,
they kind of
remember
learned their
hearing
lesson
issues
from
about
that
it.
one.
Like Nier Automata, where it just like had crashing issues. But like that's the last one. That was 2017. 6 years ago. I haven't really heard of big ones since. Personally.
I have feelings about
I love
Nier
that game. I
Automata.
speedran it for a long time. I really enjoy it. The cat's start is right
so did
across this
I.
canyon too. By
There's
the
a
way.
shoe print. There's a shoe print of missing paint on my front door that also remembers the time when I speedran Nier Automata.
Gonna have to be extra persuasive.
I have multiple pieces of generic Xbox One controllers that also remember when I speed ran Nier Automata. I've since learned from that. I will say, if you are a fan of like movement-oriented games, but also love incredibly technical speedruns, man, Nier Automata is cool. Just be prepared to sink about 1,000 hours into it until your time's like okay. But you know, in the proverbial speedrunner nomenclature, your PB is still
I
gonna be
PB
garbage.
all the time, and I'm never happy with any of the runs. So that's how you know you're a speedrunner. As soon as, well, this
Yeah.
isn't how you know you're a speedrunner, but you
Yeah.
know you're a speedrunner when you just run a
Yeah.
game, and then just every run is like, "Ah, that could be better. That could be so much better. That could have been so fantastic."
Oh, wow. Thanks for giving me the extra 6 seconds on my average run length, Chrisseries. I appreciate it. Oh, I got too close. Oh, well.
You don't expect.
Also, hi, Bagel. Bagel's been on GDQ as well. But no, I put a year of Nier Automata speedruns in. I think I have 1,800 hours, over 2,200 attempts, and the average run length was 8 minutes and 24
wow,
seconds. Actually, I think it might be 8:23.
That is actually wild.
Miserable. Absolutely miserable. It is, it's definitely one of those things where, like, nothing goes perfect. It's one of those runs, like, where you're not going to get everything perfect. But no, like, I feel you. Like, I was basically pushing to see if I could get 15 under a certain time before I left for Japan. And
Now you got it for AGDQ, baby. Let's go. Once again, congratulations.
Another one.
Yeah, like I ended up getting this. Thank you. I ended up getting this monster time. Like I think it was like the night before we left for Japan. And I was like, that's it. It's done. And then I looked at like potential time save. I was like, this runs
There you
garbage.
go.
Whatever.
The classic.
Yep. Bridge skip. Oh, bridge skip is. There's nothing like being like, you know what? I want to get really good. You know, I want to speed run this game. And within the first 8 minutes, like you can kind of muck through the intro. But within like the first 5 or 6 minutes, there is a skip that if you don't get it, like you cannot speed run the game. Because you're immediately going to have to do all sorts of other things that aren't
Yeah,
going to
it's
work.
probably
and
what, like
it's-
the second or third hardest trick in the game.
good
just
luck.
right at the
You know,
very,
you
very
have-
beginning.
Nice. Baby
just love
tasty
that.
cake smothered in syrup. She was the one who got me in a reading.
What happened to her?
She got
I
married on her own
pulled myself off a little bit. I just wanted to try something new here.
Now. Let's
There we
go
go.
find us a-
But we are now on our way to Avueleta. This is the domain of, I can't remember her name. Lizzie, help me out.
I could have told you right before you asked.
I think we're here.
All right,
Did you?
chat. Here we
This
go.
place is just as fucked up
The
as
task
last
falls
one.
upon you.
Well, we just need to find some ballow trees.
We are going to see Tanta Prov, or are we going to see?
Point. Councilman said
Tanta
someone
Prov,
still
thank you.
goes into office.
Sorry, my brain was just like turning into soup.
Yo, Sam.
Probably don't look as worn out as the one they drained back in Sepal, right?
Yeah, are we going to see her, or is she third? I don't remember now. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna go see Prov. I think. Maybe.
You know, you speed run a game enough, you forget
listen,
the story.
I was elected to speed, not to read. Ooh, speaking of, I gotta actually swap my magic here because I have a nice little setup that kind of works out pretty nicely. And then I forgot to screen share because I am a stinky cat boy. I'm actually not a stinky cat boy. Kelby is a stinky cat them.
Something I will say, as you're just moving along here, that I've been noticing is that you're really good at using that fire lasso, and I was always terrible at it. And maybe I just missed a setting in the settings somewhere, but like, okay, I play with inverted vertical controls, and the lasso's like aiming I could never figure out how to get that inverted as well. So it always like I would like be holding down and I'd be falling. So I'd like be going to look up and then all of a sudden I would pull into the aim and it would immediately shoot down and I would miss my target. So like I could never get it to work consistently.
I'm still not 100% with the lasso, like learning like the kind of like the
so
exact
hard.
distance you have with it. But for me, it's here, I'll throw this back up. For me, I think it's honestly near that taught me like the claw grip.
Oh yeah,
and
that
that's
makes
how I
sense,
kind of
yeah.
make it work.
Yeah.
Is I just hold square with like
Giving me Super
the top
Metroid
of my finger.
flashbacks.
I'll have to thank him when I get back.
Not so far.
Yep.
Where are we gonna find more fallow trees?
Perhaps through that door.
So Robian has sent us to go find the ballow trees, because that is kind of what. Yeah, that was a great grouping, and also having the ability to hold them in place is a good start there. But we need to find ballow sap to kind of counteract some of the magic that's going on. But we are now introduced to some cheeky new buggers. They are the archers. They have the water.
I'm not requesting an audience, but someone who enjoys dismembering people.
Thankfully, we can just do a quick little charge sword attack, and if I do it right, which is basically not like that, we can knock them down and just get a killer blow to start it off. And now we meet these lovely creatures. Looks like none of them have decided to just start healing for no darn reason, which is always my favorite.
How many of them are there?
It's healing itself.
You know, I shouldn't have said anything, to be honest.
That's always how they get you.
Yep. The good thing is I don't think they'll back to back on it, which is nice. And getting the knockdown really important early. Claw grip is just I got big hands. You know what they say about people with big hands, right?
Okay.
Big gloves.
What the hell is all that shit about back there? The shit about surrendering myself.
Is it really me
No,
on like
I'm
a
not
hot
sweating.
fix show
I just think
unless I
it's
make
funny.
the
I'm
host
more
sweat
sweating
at
for
least once?
our wonderful production crew, Richard, in the back. I'm sure is
You
having a
want me to
wonderful
request
time.
an audience with Prob?
Richard knows I wouldn't disrespect him like that. I have so much love for Rich and Ray. I forget who I tech checked with this time off the top of my head, but like it's always like a fun group to like just get set up with and just find a way to speed run.
No doubt. That's
Some pretty
what we're
interesting
here for,
stuff.
And we've got interesting speed stuff pretty much 7 days a week, like year round. So many different awesome shows.
Which is really cool. There's so many neat little things, and like that's the cool thing about speedrunning is like it. From the surface view, it seems like it's this incredibly competitive and super like intense thing. A lot of us are just here to have fun. Like, man, it's really cool. I can go so fast, or like. You know, I know the developers really spent hours and hours designing this one boss fight, but look what I can do if I just kind of stick this enemy in a certain corner.
Damn. Look at this.
But really, you know, we
Never mind.
we
Anyway,
do
that was
just
a boss fight, it's
appreciate
weak.
the games. Like, we wouldn't be speedrunning these games if we didn't, you know, truly love them. Now, regardless of what we may say about, you know, oh, this game is trash. You know, they may be trash. Every game that you ever speedrun is just the worst, most awful
There we
thing.
go.
But
That
we
should
do
be-
actually love them. They're great.
Yeah.
Ignore whenever we PB and say this game is trash or this run is trash. You know, we do love these. We wouldn't do it if it wasn't fun.
Yep. As much as I will joke about being a hostage to whatever game I'm playing, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't do it. I am a full-grown adult and have full autonomy over my choices. I do it because it's fun. And like, I think for me, speedrunning has been like, it's been really cool, like as a way to measure like, you know, getting better and developing skills. But at the same time, like convincing people to look at a game that, especially for me with like 15 and now Forspoken, like convincing people to like go back and give it a shot. Because To be honest, both of these games have changed quite a bit since they first released, and heck, maybe they're worth it. Like, I'm not going to tell you to go out and buy it at like,
Damn.
full game price, but heck, this game, especially if you can get it bundled with the DLC for like $30, I'm going to tell you it's worth your time. I think you're going to have fun with it. Especially if you have any sort of enjoyment of like open world RPGs where you can traverse at your own pace and there's like cool little mini games and side quests, you're gonna have fun.
I did receive a copy of Final Fantasy 15 as a present. One of these days I'm gonna get to it.
Who
15
dislikes
is
you that
actually one
much?
of my favorite ones.
I'm kidding.
Which I think is probably heresy
I
to say,
had
but
such a love for
I
that
love
game.
15.
Any more minions you want to send my way? I'm getting bored.
Do resist the urge to provoke.
Please, these are minor.
That went really well.
That did, yeah.
Sounds like something someone in a simulation would say. This is not the Catboy you're looking for.
Blink twice if you need help.
There
Yeah.
is a
Good.
DLC. It came out, what, 6 months ago now at this point, maybe?
This is getting pretty
4 months ago. It was a little ways back, but there really wasn't any marketing about it. So it does exist. And it's like post main game, so it's worth your time if you have the game and if you finished it, or if you haven't and are looking to get a bundle. It's worth it for the DLC for sure.
They're not very fast, but look out for those axes.
There we go.
those in my sleep.
Oof.
Damn.
That man had to suffer the misfortune of taking a long drop on. Oh,
All I want
Wow.
is to help
Good
those
pick.
people.
actually got picked out of the air by an arrow. Kudos to them, putting up a good fight today.
She has a case. I sense her plight. A fair trial is her due. Her right. Right.
I was hoping I'd get a knockdown, but we'll just have to push the damage through.
That's not doing much.
No healing. I see you back there. Enough of your shenanigans. None of that. Cool, so that's clean. I'm gonna give... There we go. I need a little bit more Discord audio on my side from Lizzie. There we go. Muy excelente.
Now hear Lizzie loud and clear, even more clear.
Yes.
Also, hi, Lizzie.
Oh, hi. Hello.
There we go.
Really didn't want to fight another Tanta.
So this is Prav. I took a second there to just avoid that attack that she launched off because it will press you against the wall and it's quite annoying.
Just admit it. I'm
Got her
not guilty.
basically in lockdown mode, and we gonna, in the immortal words of Danny DeVito, start blasting.
She's distracted. Now's your chance.
Why must
Oh, okay. All right. It's okay, Kios. I still love you.
Yes. I mean, I love
Maybe
Danny
not.
DeVito.
Everybody, what's your favorite film where Danny DeVito is present? Has to be a movie. Can't be a
Of
TV
Danny
show. So
DeVito?
Only Sunny doesn't count.
Had enough yet?
Well, Batman Returns is the easy answer.
Yeah, as
I
I mean, he's
Penguin,
just
really
absolutely
good.
incredible in that.
I really liked him in Matilda, to be honest.
I was gonna say that is such a great, and like the backstory behind that too. Like, apparently he's like stayed in touch with the child actor for like years because apparently like she lost her father or something, like at a young age, and like he just kind of was really like always trying to look out for her.
That's so great. Yeah, Danny DeVito also directed that movie. Man's got talent.
Mm-hmm.
He's not just very silly all the time. He is very silly all the time. I love him.
Okay. Destroy the giant sphere.
The Lorax. Wow, we're gonna get the phase skip on this, which is really nice. I don't get that very often. So normally there's a third phase where Tantaprav sucks you up in a bubble, and you're basically just like kind of stuck floating in midair and trying to counterattack her bubbles that she shoots at you. But because of the 2 consecutive stuns, we've decided to just not do that. So hooray me, because that phase is really annoying. The question is, what is your favorite Danny DeVito film? No TV. I do love him as the trash man, though, yes. That's not me. No, when I'm done, just throw me in the trash.
Oh, that's right. He wasn't Hercules. Yeah, playing himself as Phil.
He was Phil.
The
Danny DeVito as himself,
Yes.
dressed up as another character.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Third magic.
Hey,
So I mentioned the how we're planning to use dodge. Well, here's where we're going to do it. We are going to get this ability that Tantaprav has called Chain Bolt. And I'm going to set that up in our magic Hot Wheel. Now, so if you notice, I'm going to dodge, even though I'm not being attacked. But on our little sidebar there, you'll see that we'll get Chain Bolt level 2, like immediately, as opposed to just like our standard little water ball. For some reason, mechanically, if you play the game right, as I'm just making an absolute mess over here menu-wise, if you dodge, you get like a little counterattack boost. Well, the game doesn't know when you're dodging an attack per se. So if we just kind of air dodge and charge an attack, we immediately, increase our damage level, how many shots we pull out, and it's free real estate. It's free damage, really.
We also got a new movement tech that you just saw there. I say tech, it's just a new movement spell or whatever, where he, when you're on water, you now get this cool surfboard that you get to slide along water, which is really fun.
Yeah, we get surfboard. Shout outs to all the network engineers in chat.
Might I suggest that you don't? The people have turned against the Tartars. I'm not sure they've
Have
been
fun at,
overjoyed to discover that you're
what's the next, Anthrocon?
They don't exactly spread sunshine and cheer wherever they go, huh?
Sooner
I'm
or
just
later,
kidding.
you'll have a big decision to make,
But no, like it's actually
Whether or not
like,
I should kill my mother.
yeah, it's a mechanic in the game, like because there are a lot of open water areas, and like cool rivers
For
and
now, let's go and see if we can get some answers.
oh yeah,
on
with the
real
attacks
bomb.
too. Yeah, you can full charge all the attacks. They do have a charge function, but normally what would happen is you would hold down the attack button and it would just kind of slow, it would do, it'd fill up that bar like 1, 2, 3. This just immediately shoots it up to like whatever the highest charge is, like right coming out of the dodge, which is super nice because it allows us to stack damage pretty darn quickly.
Wow, what a cool video game.
I like stuff that has like little neat things
little
like
touches.
that. To be honest, if you want me to speedrun a video game, just give me something that has like really cool movement options. It makes me feel really cool because generally I am not really that cool.
Stop lying to
Hard
yourself.
disagree.
You know you're cool. Chat, give us a 1. Give us a 1 in chat. My favorite question to ask chat.
Yes,
To
I know
the
I
call to
You need
action.
to
Give me a
pull
1
yourself
if you think
together.
Kyo's.
Don't tell me
This
what to
is
do.
pretty cool. We're not going to go
I am sick
100%
of
cool, but
killing
at least
myself for
pretty cool.
everybody else. Why can't I just do what I want for once?
You are an Athia. You should want what they want.
Yeah, we are talking about the same thing, Intraz. Absolutely. For some reason, like the little air dodge just gives you like a full retaliation, which is nice.
Frey,
Gravity Rush?
if we could
Gravity
just
Rush is
sit
pretty
down-
freaking cool.
That's
No more
another one
moments.
where
No more from you.
I own it and I've yet to play it, but it looks really cool. I have such a big backlog, Kios. You have no idea. I've just got so many RPGs I need to go play.
To Janoon.
Guess we don't
Girl,
choose.
I understand, and
Why don't we go? We can end him.
This is not
in the past, like, don't get me wrong, like with everything that's been going on with like the Screenwriters Guild and the Interactive Media Guild and that stuff, like, not my channel. I don't want to bring it up, but we all know it's a thing. Gamers, like people that play video games, specifically RPGs, we have been absolutely inundated with video games. If you know someone that streams or plays RPGs, please think fondly of them, because we have been swimming in good video games and our backlog just it continues to balloon out of control. Even if like you're just only an indie fan, there have been so many good indie games that I've not even been able to keep up with. If you're just a Square Enix fanboy like me, there's still backlog from last year. Like, I haven't finished Octopath Traveler 2. I don't know when I'm going
Eventually.
to. I will get to it. I promise.
Eventually,
I
it
think.
will happen.
Oh, what's that? Kios, you finally got around to finishing Yakuza 3, 4, 5, and 6 on stream? Well, good news. There's 2 more Yakuza games coming out in the next 2
I
months.
literally just
Good luck,
started
buddy.
Yakuza 0. Game is
Oh my gosh,
fantastic.
that game is so incredible.
Does Goro Majima do something illegal to you too? When I grow up, I want to be Goro
He
Majima.
seems
I
so
really
cool,
do.
Likable and nice.
I keep wondering.
He's-
What if wonder?
That's like the really cool thing. Like,
Never
if
know.
you're gonna play through the whole series, I'm sure you can ask anyone. I know that Froob and Nono and Panda and like a lot of the Yakuza runners have done some cool stuff.
Oh, nice.
3 is probably going to be where you're going to feel the pain of it, just because it goes from like, wow, this was updated for modern convenience, to, wow, this is a very early PS3 game.
All right, let's roll.
Just
Be prepared for that.
just truck through it. You can do it. I promise you, the entire franchise is worth it. And like like the amount of character progression and story progression is just so cool. By the way, in case you're wondering, we've been isekai'd again. We're
No
back
way, I
in
thought this
New
was
York.
silly.
It's December 24th. It is Christmas Eve. And our apartment hasn't burned down. In fact, it's nicely furnished.
I me too.
Like, people talk to us and they respect us. There's a hot dog and
Can we
Knish
buy a hot
cart
dog?
in front of us. Only if you get the actually, I can't make that joke. Anyway, but
Thank
yes,
you
I love
for
a
your
hot dog.
consideration.
Shout outs to Limp Bizkit, I guess. I will say that hot dogs are my favorite taco, though.
I'm not sure what my
Yeah.
favorite taco is. I think I just go for like, the standard street hot dog.
I'm not gonna.
Get some like, chopped like bacon or something on it. I don't know, whatever vegetables, get some caramelized onions. That's a great
I'm
taco.
late. I gotta hurry.
Caramelized onions are so worth it. While not a hot dog, it is still part of the sausage family. I've taken to making this wonderful chorizo corn chowder, and just it's so good. Especially like I'm up in the Northeast in Philly, and it's starting to get cold, but a little bit of chorizo, some corn, some bell peppers. I sweat down the onions, add a little flour, make a roux with some beef stock. And then you scrape the fond off the bottom of the Dutch oven. Oh, it's so good. It's a diehard like. I love it.
Wait, what happens? Your stuff was back. Oh my gosh. Are we not actually
Yep.
in New York? Yes.
No, unfortunately, we have now met up with Tanta Olas. And her skill
Is mind manipulation?
is that
Yeah,
of illusion.
illusion. That's a good way to put it.
To the exit. I just went out.
While I'm thinking about it, we're going to get the final level of Chain Bolt. Yes, a taco is a sandwich, as is a hot
As is
dog.
a calzone.
Cereal. Yep. Well, cake is also a calzone.
Depends on the
well,
cake, yeah.
it kind of depends how you
Like
look
those
at it.
little, like, you know, specialty, like, single packaged cakes that just have a little bit of filling in it. Like a Twinkie. A Twinkie is a calzone.
Oh, hey, that's what they used to call me in. Oh, wait, never mind.
Welcome to Game Masters, everybody.
No,
We are playing
it's-
Forspoken, and Kios is crushing it. We got
Spoken.
all this cool building. Look at all the like buildings that are being destroyed. It's weird. Like this blast up. It's so cool. Oh, that's not cool though.
This area introduces these lanterns, which basically are a source of the of Olas's power. Yeah, Dutch ovens are great to cook soups in. Like for me, especially if you're making it from scratch and you're trying to like get a really nice, rich broth. Generally what I do is I'll start with whatever the protein is and just kind of sweat that down and then take some of the remaining, like kind of like the drippings or the grease or whatever have you, put the vegetables in there and then add a little flour, sweat it down, and then add your stock back in and give that bottom a good scrape, to be honest. That's how you're really going to build up a nice stock. Yes, you did just get some absolutely supreme cooking tips from me. Welcome to every time I'm on some sort of marathon or showcase, I will talk about food.
You know, it's just great content.
So we need to get rid of them first?
I mean, I have if you've ever made chicken noodle soup, even if it comes from a can, do yourself a favor. Oh, hey, Olivia's back. Just kidding. It's another Mirage. This Tanta is so mean. She just like drags all of our horrible past experiences like directly in front of us. You're like, ha ha. It is definitely psychological warfare. But yeah, take your chicken noodle soup, give it a squeeze of lime, or actually lemon. My apologies, lemon,
My turn. We're the ones with the advantage.
and a little bit of jalapeno. Give you that real extra business on it. But as you can see, I've been bringing out some of my extra magic here. Like we now have, because we have 3 separate types of magic, like, yeah, enemies are only weak to one kind of magic, but that doesn't make our support magic any less it doesn't make it useless. Like being able to hold enemies in place or working on staggering them or just having like the fusillade to be able to shoot out a couple extra pieces of damage really helps in the long term, like that little chip damage. We also have with the water magic, we have that whirlpool that does some nice area damage, although it's a concentrated spot. And we also have that little, I don't know to call it, basically like a snake, but it basically is just like a temporary health debuff. And that really helps kind of reduce the enemy's HP bar without having to like super soak damage, which is really nice. So I'm going to dump some of those out there just to kind of keep our DPS up and keep our big bad here kind of locked in place a little bit. I do want to try and get my support magic back up though. We do have a boss fight coming, and I would really love to make sure I have something that would help. Perfect. That was really good. Was able to get him locked down before the HP debuff ran out. And I have to be close because I forgot we got Olivia again. Yes, I do cooking, instructional cooking streams. Yes, I do them 2 times a
be
month.
sure to go follow Kyo's Little Monster if you are not already doing so, which after this conversation we've been having, I don't know how you're not already following them, but hey, there's still time.
I am making my really fun pumpkin muffins that I make every year. Don't use water in them. Use orange juice. It gives them a nice little sweet, tart kind of kick with an actual pumpkin.
How long have you been cooking?
Anyway, this is... How long have I been cooking? Probably since I was like 13 or 14. Like I figured out that... both genders really, well, all genders really enjoy someone that can cook a really nice meal. And I was like, you know, maybe that's my end, because I'm not the tallest. I'm definitely not the ballest. But I can cook. That's something I can do.
You know, not everybody can. So.
Yeah, you know, I was definitely like one of the only like boys in my middle school cooking class that really took it seriously. And like, yeah, I got called like a dork, but like, joke's on them. I found my partner because I met them on the internet, and I was like, hey, you seem really cool. Would you want to come hang out with me? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, you know, I can promise you the best nachos of your life. And that was 8 years ago. And I had gotten up after like our first kind of date. I was like, hey, I got to go to work. If you want to swing through, you know, you're welcome to stay here. I don't have anything going on. I just got to go to work. But if you want to like leave, that's totally fine. And they still haven't given me my key. I gave them back.
We're stuck here forever.
Did you say the best nachos of your life?
Potato chips. If you can get a hold of all dressed chips, all dressed chips are tremendous. Shout outs to our neighbors from the north. So we've now been tricked. Unfortunately for us, that was just a clone.
Oh, it actually tricked me. I thought that was it.
Yeah. We now, however, whenever that like large bubble of magic hits us, we basically get a debuff of, well, we can't use you lose audio or you lose visual lock on. Get a good stun here with the debuff, restack the debuff, which is good. I might be able to get him before he cycles. I'm not sure. Come on. Yes. Cool. So we skipped a whole phase there, which is really nice. So his like desperation attack is he'll basically make mirror images of himself. I know most of us have been wrapped in the thralls of Baldur's Gate 3, so most of you probably know what mirror image is, but it basically functions the same way. Being able to skip that is really, really cool.
All right, we're back. Hooray! We got isekai'd into the isekai from the isekai.
Hey, Cuff.
Yep. And we have been basically teleported to Visoria, where we are going to go track down the last Tanta. So, you know, this should be a pretty pivotal moment.
Now, granted, we do have a lot of, you know, people into anime or otherwise here on the GDQ community. We're all a bit of nerds, but for those of you who aren't, I guess I probably should clarify. Isekai literally just means like another world, alternate universe,
By the way,
that type
you
of
said
thing.
I was swallowed by the break, right?
Shout outs to Truck Chan.
Everybody back
Most
in the
oftentimes you get there via a traumatic event that involves getting hit by a truck. So,
Best way to help you is to stop Olaf.
but not this game. This game is above that.
Yeah, I get it.
Baldur's Gate 3 Game of the Year, I would have to agree. Like,
Don't worry, this will be quick.
I do hope so.
I got to play it yet.
hey, we got a little bit of movement. Girl, you are in for an absolute treat.
I'm gonna be playing it with a group of some fellow
You are in for a treat.
Hotfix show hosts, and that's gonna be wild. It's gonna take us forever. What can we do?
It's one of those things, like, in terms of like co-op gameplay, has been one of the most seamless games that I've had the experience of playing. Like, it is just so smooth in how it handles it. And then after you finish it together, go back and play it with some of the origin characters.
Quite possibly another near-do well lying in wait.
Wow, some of those storylines are tremendous. So if you remember the first kind of the first area we went to where I had those like little 2 Recreant Knight mini bosses, well, we have one of these, except it's a lot bigger and there are a lot of bodies.
Like that.
But as we clean out these lanterns, we're getting rid of some of these enemies, which is really nice. But there are a lot of lanterns, and you can see we've kind of gotten rid of the regular mobs, and we're kind of only left with, well, those cutscene enemies that we had, the little rapscallions, and this lumbering fella over here. So we're gonna have to take a bunch of them down. I'm gonna try and get them to group up a little bit, which would be really nice, make my life easier, it'd be really cool. Trying to showcase some really cool strategies game. Nah, I'm just kidding. It doesn't matter. it matters not to me at this point.
It matters to me, kids. It matters to me.
Yeah, my sentiments exactly, Frey. It happens.
The lantern's unprotected.
Apparently I took down one of them without notice. Oh, that's what that other damage bar was. I saw like a little tick of damage show up in the whirlwind, and I wasn't sure if it was like just like a leftover normal trash mob or if it was one of these guys, because I just couldn't see. Cool, but that is the last one, and just a little bit of speed tech here because I'm going to be air dashing. I kind of keep air dashing myself backwards so I can just get closer to this door.
Open it in style, as you do.
Yeah, which is actually really cool. This is one of those games where, like, if you interact with something, even if you're mid-animation, it's just kind of like, oh, cool, so you want to interact with this door? Yeah, that's cool. We'll just parkour it right in there.
Already showed up.
Like, Frey has her own animation for opening doors while parkouring. So, credit where credit's due. They thought of it. They're like, it would be really cool.
I will say, chat, do not try to kick open your doors at home. Kyo's already had to pay that price.
Listen. What I learned from my time as a Nier Automata speedrunner, while it was a painful and embarrassing lesson, I really probably would not be where I'm at in terms of speedrunning and community if I hadn't learned those very painful lessons the hard way.
You wouldn't be right here, right now, playing this for our wonderful GDQ audience. Hello.
Me and you, tough guy.
See, I got the plug in there. I shouted out you all. That's you two. You're great. Thank you so much.
Also, check out Lizzie. Lizzie's a sweet bean.
I try.
Yo, Lizzie, what do you you said like you used to speedrun this game. What do you focus on now?
Right now, I'm just, casually playing games. I'm not really speedrunning anything at the moment, unfortunately.
No, you apologize. That's still awesome. I
to-
love watching people's like first time experience through a game. Like if I have a game I like, I'm sure many of you are like this, and I recommend it or something like that, and I'm like, I'm just like sitting there with this dumbest grin on my face. It's like, do you like it? Do you like it? Huh? What do you think? What do you think? Is it fun? And it's like, yeah. So it's like, oh, I love it. I love that you love it. Thank you so much. I'm like that all the time.
The amount
I
of
have to hold my excitement.
For me, I have to really have a special connection with a game. Like, I don't know what it was about Nier, but I got done and I just didn't want it to be over. And so I was like, let's check out the speedrun. And it's a beast when you first look at it. And I was really nervous, but it just absolutely fell into place and was so much fun.
That's awesome.
And I've been trying to find the next speed game ever since.
My favorite part of the Nier series is just showing to people how exactly hard you can cry. It's like, guys, check this out. Look at how hard I can cry.
Usually game stories don't get me, but my God, story in Nier, that hits hard.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it. And I was like I've said it a couple of times before, video games are super cool. Yeah, outer worlds too. The Nier series and Outer Wilds or Outer Wilds is the one I'm
both of them
thinking.
are
Space
great.
exploration one.
Yeah, Outer
Outer
Wilds
Worlds.
is the Fallout style game.
Another
And then Outer Worlds is the sort of like mist in space.
No, Outer Wilds
time
is
loop.
the mist in space. Outer Worlds. is
Oh,
the
do I have them
yeah.
backwards?
Yeah. Outer, like, legitimately, like, between, like, the Nier series and, like, Outer Wilds, like, it is so rare that one runs into a piece of media that radically changes, like, your way of thinking or your way of approaching life. And for some reason, Nier Replicant and Nier Automata, like, did that to me. Like, just, and it's not in, like, this super deep way, but it just, like, it changed my approach of how I think about things, how I interact with things. And, you know, I take that for the better. You know, it's very cool to me that my major life experience is, you know, have been able to be centered around video games and, like, the community experience of it. Speaking of tears and butts, we're gonna meet the big butt bad of the game.
Who could it be? Who is it?
Oh no, it's Cuff.
No, I did
Well,
not see this coming.
Technically it's Cicerus, but so the too long didn't read, which we'll get into, is Cuff is actually not what he said he is. He is a bad man. There's your Final Fantasy X reference, everyone. I knew one of you was waiting for it.
I wasn't waiting. I was waiting for that right there. Yeah, you tell him. Anyway.
What? Please. Listen, come on. It's a Square Enix game. Like, it's gonna be a little tropey, unfortunately.
I'm in for the cheese, honestly. I eat this stuff up, like the cheesy lines and, like, oh my gosh, like the OG Resident Evil 4 style dialogue. Like, I give that to me any day, and I will have a smile on my face.
Listen, I think I'm not going to criticize it. Like, every once in a while, it's just what you need. Like, no cap. It is what it is. Anyway, here's the other shocker. Our mom was a Tanta.
Mom, no.
So the whole reason we don't have parents is because when the Tantas got together to stop Susurrus and the break, unfortunately, it just didn't work out. It really didn't. The land was still corrupted. So our mom basically opened a Taranta and shot us to a different universe.
Does that make you
Which
a
was...
Tanta?
And Cuff had something to do with that.
It, in fact, does.
Oh.
Which is why we have magical powers.
Yeah, surprise,
or the ability to
surprise.
wield them.
So Athia
It
won
wasn't
the war,
Cuff.
but was still screwed.
God, the outfit design in this game is so cool. Like,
I'd wear that.
people can harp
Even
on
after all that.
whatever they want,
Kinda
but like
sucks.
the outfit designs for this game like still impress me. Like, I'm just a sucker for like really cool and unconventional outfits. All right, ladies, favorite cheese?
I like. God, it's not Parmesan. I actually looked this up earlier. It's like if you go to a Brazilian steakhouse, right? They have like a salad bar,
My
and there's
stands
this
forgotten.
giant wheel of cheese that you can like carve off to put on your
Yes.
plates. It's not Parmesan. It's like Parmesan adjacent. I forget what it was called. Whatever that is.
Perhaps Asiago?
It's a hard
Is
cheese
this
that is similar to Parmesan, just better.
Right.
More pink.
I
in
definitely
color.
have not been kicked out of Fogo de Chao for just eating a large block of it. That would
But you know what I'm
never
talking about, right?
happen
Yeah.
to me. I have no clue what you're talking about. My lawyer is advising me that I should refrain from any further comments.
I'm actually gonna go look this up right now. because it's gonna bug me all day if I don't find the name of this. Maybe someone in chat knows.
Super spicy pepper jack. Pepper jack love Fraggle Rock. There you go. There's another Danny DeVito reference. Lizzie, what you got?
I'm trying to think of the name of it, and I cannot now. It's a soft cheese. Oh my gosh!
Do you
what
know
is
its
it?
country of
So
origin?
I make this. I make this what I call fancy mac and cheese out of it, and it's oh my gosh! I can't remember the name of it now. I'm sorry. But it's like it's a soft cheese, and you put it in your
A good soft
macaroni
cheese
that you've
is
cooked
wonderful.
with some wine and shallots and garlic and yeah. And I put broccoli or spinach, whichever I was feeling the day. Get some greens in there, and then you put the cheese in, and then you top it with some Parmesan, and it's just like absolutely delicious.
Okay, I think I found the name of it. It's Grana cheese. The Parmesan adjacent.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I
Grana Padano is what I'm saying.
There's so many good cheeses that are also in hard, the hard style of cheeses. You got your Manchegos, your Asiagos, your Goudas. There's some really good soft cheese. If you're a soft cheese fan, Lizzie, if you can find Port Salut is really good. Yeah, Brie. Brie's always a classic. What's another one that I recommend? If you've not had Havarti, it's not like a soft cheese, but it is definitely a very creamy cheese that's very soft and melts really easily. I'd recommend that.
It was not Brie, whoever said that in chat. I just went and looked, and it is mascarpone.
Ooh, mascarpone?
Oh.
Mascarpone is a very cool and versatile cheese because you can use it for dessert things like cannoli.
Wow.
Yes, hard style cheese. Cheese that is at 200 BPM or higher. That's an EDM joke. I said, never mind. Munster cheese?
Okay.
EDM, electronic dance music. But story-wise, we've gotten our magic back. Well, at least one piece of it. And we're basically going to have to cycle back through history and kind of figure out, hey, what's our best course of action here? While just kind of giving the backstory of how the game has progressed. Because the Tanas used to be really tight-knit, and they got together to basically bind Susurrus and prevent him from, destroying the world and taking over. And, where they failed and why they failed. So this is kind of our little boss. I would call it like a boss rush. Ooh, very cool. Where we basically have to prove ourselves against some of the skills and techniques. This is like a representation of our mom. She's a dragon. Legitimately, she got turned into a dragon. So there's that.
Yeah, I hate it when that happens. You ever just wake up one day and you get turned into a dragon? That sucks.
God, I wish. What?
Don't worry about it.
I mean, it would be really cool though. Crawl out of bed into my chair and with my very large claw try and type out a message to my boss like, "Dear boss, can't work today. Kind of turned into a dragon. So I have much more important things to do, like hoarding gold or cheese or shiny
I think
things."
a dragon can hoard whatever they want. It's just like an object of a similar variety. Most of them like gold, but yeah. Imagine being the cheese dragon.
There's a place down in the city specifically the Reading Terminal Market, that is just cheeses. And it's not, I get it. Like your normal supermarket has like a great selection of cheese, but this got like stuff that your normal supermarket's just not gonna have. Like that's one of my. They got some really good Stilton down there. They got like a great selection of Port Salut. I already.
Hi, Chad, are you hungry?
Zealousy, and I'm sure Fan and Lizzie can agree with me. I'm a VTuber. I already hoard art. I don't want to talk about it.
It takes all of my effort not to just spend all of my money on art.
I don't know what you're talking about. You can't prove it. Don't ask questions.
Yeah, everybody, if you want to draw me fan art, anytime, I'll accept it.
That is the greatest gift you can give any sort of VTuber is fan art.
Anytime I get fan art, it just makes my day. I got one that was drawn by, I think they were 5 years old, 5-year-old daughter of.
Oh.
And it's
so
just
cute.
like something you like hand drawn with like crayons.
Yes.
And like I need to print it out and put it on my fridge because it's that precious. It's so adorable.
I have a Fumo that was drawn in colored pencil from one of my longtime homies, Trash Buddy. They go by the name Sen, but they're always TB in my heart. Just super cool dude. And like it's my own little Fumo, and it's super cute.
Aww.
Yeah, it was your hashtag Fant art.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is.
Philly, like, don't get me wrong. People will say all sorts of things about Philly, and I will trash talk it. But like, I love the city. Like, it's so cool. There's like great music culture. There's incredible food. There is great food everywhere you look in Philly and in the suburbs. And the Phillies are going to absolutely give me an aneurysm today. I love it. I do not love it. Hate being a Philadelphia sports
I've been in
fan.
Philadelphia once in my life, and it was to escape the New York airports due to issues they were having. And so like that, Philadelphia saved my butt, so heck yeah, Philly.
It's a cool place. If you're at game, that is not the magic I have selected.
That's it.
Game. Thank you. I was wondering what was going on there. That's a neat one. That's never happened before. Let's see if I can. Okay, how about right here? Yeah, that looks great. How about I drag all of you into that? There you go. I mixed up strategies a little bit here. I wanted to try and get through that previous fight a little bit faster. You can save that really heckin' cool like surge magic to just clear that room really quickly, which is nice and all, but then you don't have it for the next couple of boss fights, unfortunately. So one of our least favorite RNG points of the game is coming up. It's not this boss fight, but the next one, called the Phoenix, has the ability to just fly around and away from us, which unfortunately, is not great considering we have to use some ranged attacks on it, and ranged attacks don't go forever. But we did get this cool magic from Olas, which is the Seeker Dart, which is really cool because it has the ability to, one, create like a illusion of ourselves, which is really nice. And the Seeker Dart, which is really good at effectively just stunning enemies in place like it did right there. But we're basically going back through all of the previous like big fights that the Tantas have had. My PB is a 218.04 for this category.
I love the music like kicking in here.
Mm-hmm.
That, oh my God, it's happening vibe.
It the other interesting thing, and I know this is controversial take here. I think Final Fantasy 13 is a pretty neat game. And one of the main reasons is because of the interconnectedness with the soundtrack. It uses a musical concept called leitmotif, not leitmotif, as I have unfortunately found out is not the correct pronunciation. So shout outs to my college music instructor, but he was from West Virginia, so he had a very funky accent. It may have been on me. But this game also uses extensive use of that. But it's a very easy way to just kind of like tie in musical concepts together. You take like just one really hey, remember when I said the RNG could be bad? Here it is. But the repetitive use of like a theme, like a little phrase or a musical melody, is such a very nice and succinct way to like tie a soundtrack together or themes.
Very popular in a lot of older movies. Less so nowadays, but you know, I always come to like when I think about that, like Indiana Jones does a really good job of leitmotifs everywhere, like not just tied to people, but like to objects. And things.
Yep. As much as people are very hot and cold on it, the 007 series also very indicative, especially like the older films. You'll find it everywhere in a lot of the older, like especially Connery era films.
My now.
See, we've talked about food, we've talked about pets, we've talked about VTubers, we've talked about cooking, we've talked about what haven't we talked about today? We need to fill in all the gaps, make sure we've got it all covered.
How fun the movement is in this game. Also, shout outs to Toby Fox.
We could talk about it again though, because I agree.
There is one specific area of performance slowdown that this game experiences, and it's coming up right here. I don't know why, but the second I hit this over this house, we're gonna drop to like 40 frames for some reason. Don't know why. That's the only slowdown I have in this entire run, is just there's something about loading that transition area.
Okay, I just figured out something else we can talk about. So I've noticed, you know, we've got the ever so lovely Steam FPS tracker or whatever on the top left there of the screen. You may not be able to see it on screen, but trust me, it's there. So you're playing on 120 FPS. Does this game have any unique attributes based off of the frame rate you're playing at? Because I know like stuff like in the RE engine, like RE4, Remake, RE8, RE7, all of those perform differently depending on the frame rate. Like there's more frames, so you do more damage with the knife, for example. Is there anything like that going on? I love that, by the way.
Oh, it's so fun. To give it the old Todd Howard. Todd, you tied the FPS to the game engine again, didn't you, Todd? Todd. As far as I've figured out, no, there's like nothing super special about it. It just runs smoother for me. Now it is the Luminous engine, so maybe as I dig through this game a little bit more, because you know I'm not gonna have to run 15 as much.
And I sent.
It just moves smoother for me. I like it. Giving myself that, you know, after spending years running things at 120, you kind of get used to it. But this runs really great on PS5, and I'm pretty sure it's not 150 or 120 FPS. But it's just a smooth experience. So there was, as Lizzie mentioned, she runs the any % category. There were two portals.
Yeah, that's where I bailed to go save our cat in New York.
Yeah, to be fair, the cat deserves it. Homer's a sweetheart. She's such a cute girl. So now it's time to stare down Cuff, or Cicerus. But our mom, the dragon, is going to help us. I wish my mom was a dragon. That'd be really neat.
Hang in there, everyone.
So our first objective, as one does in a society, is we got to save the tavern.
Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's what I got to do. To be fair, like, that's where most of the people hung out. And as you can see, basically because there are no Tantas anymore and Susurrus have been freed, he's really taking it out on the people of Sepal, you know, because the Tantas basically sealed him away and shipped him to New York as a piece of fancy jewelry. So, you know, I would kind of be a little peeved too, you know, like, hey, that really wasn't cool. Like, I know I'm a bad guy and everything, but like, that was not cool. So we're going to clear out these ones, and this next section, as much as I would love for it to not be what it is unfortunately just kind of a timed mission. So I'm just kind of stand here. If we really want, we can, you know, take a tour of Sepal as we know it.
Yeah, let's do it. Tell me about this place.
I like it. I think the city's really cool. We can't go to the upper city because we have to defend the tavern. But you can kind of take a look around. Like, there's actually like a whole bunch of really neat things. There's like vendors around here. There's a lady that collects books. You can pick up like these wooden gnome statues and trade them in for like upgrade materials, which is really cool. It's just like little knickknacks along the way. And then there is the tavern itself, which is really cool. You can actually play like this weird little dice game where
I was gonna say there's a dice
Frey
game for
will like
buffs.
just kind of roll the dice and it'll just give you like a random buff. You know, either like, hey, you get a little extra defense or a little extra attack today.
On your toes now.
How would I drink away the horrors of my adventures without the tavern? Honestly, I've picked up tea drinking and yoga, to be honest, and that kind of sets me straight. Just really focusing on mindfulness and accepting the fact that sometimes it just really do be that way. So this is going to be a fun one. I am going to try and gather, all of these puppers here. Unfortunately, these puppers are not good puppers. And yes, I know all puppers are good puppers. These puppers,
No,
however,
they're not.
they have unfortunately been exceptionally bad puppers. They have torn up all of the toilet paper, bitten all the crown molding off the door, and have attempted to blame it on the cat. Yes, the cat is just as guilty. But basically, I just wanted to rodeo everyone together there. And this big bad here, the Altered Goliath, is a very strong fella, and we got to kind of keep out of his way. Oof. You know, finding out my mom would be a dragon, like, you know, that's okay. You know, good for her. She's been through a lot this year, and if she decided that she's just going to turn into a dragon, I would wholeheartedly support that. It's her life.
It could be pretty cool. It's like no one else is a dragon. It's like, yeah, is your mom a dragon? No, get out of here.
Yeah, my mom's, you know, it really puts a whole quash to that whole, like, my dad can beat up your dad argument. Like, my mom's a dragon. What is your mom?
Like you're
a paralegal?
I was going to say
Cool.
something and caught myself, but yeah, a lot of bad things could happen to enemy moms.
Listen, I know where the line is, and I've towed it pretty nicely here.
I've gotten close to a few times, but Chad, I think I've been doing okay here.
We've been doing A-okay.
We've been doing good enough, I think. If I do say so myself.
Good enough, TM. So,
Good enough.
who wants to fly a dragon?
I've seen
We also meet this poor little girl, and our #1 fan Pilo is back. She asks a very important question.
Safe in here.
Is everyone going to die?
Eventually, yes.
We'll be
Yeah, probably.
Yes, eventually, yes. We saved the tavern. Everyone has a place to rabble rouse.
You know, she's probably so concerned because she's not old enough to drink yet, so. Everybody else gets to forget about it, but not her.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the drinking age in Athia is, but I am also not a lawyer. I only took a few pre-law classes and an LSAT.
Need to get these fucking birds out of the way.
But we are now going to deal with more birds. However, this time we have a dragon with fire breath that also happens to be our mom. So I'm just going to clean them out. And it's pretty nice, you know? You just see them, you spray them down. This is much better than Drakengard or Drakengard 3's or Drakengard 2's Dragon Combat, but that's a whole other can of worms. I just don't want to. Doing all of the endings in that series has left an impression on me. Whether it's a good one or a bad one, that's up for debate. Larry. We're not turning this into a government name stream. It's all right. I've known Rakilla in person for quite some time. Alrighty. So basically, I'm just dealing with these birds and just having done this a bit, you know, to run this speed run a couple of times, a handful of times. I kind of just know where they're going to show up and also where Susurrus is going to show up. So it's just kind of about like optimizing how much damage I can throw out at once. And just knowing the timing of like when I'm going to run out of fire breath. So we're gonna port up here, and with a quick refresh, I should be able to knock this out before he decides to teleport away.
Ready?
We're gonna port, and we're gonna give him the old onesie twosie here. Big old fire blast. With the power of love and family. 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 Any Vin Diesel fans in the chat?
You know, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of it. I'll admit it. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing these days.
No.
It's a character. It's a character.
I'm gonna really mess with people, Bellion. I only failed Drakengard 3's call and response once. However, I have been playing music and musical instruments since I was about, I'd say 9 or 10 years old. So like the concept of a sustained accelerando, which is what is the trick that's employed with that one, is something like I'm super familiar with. And I blocked the freeze. Let's go. I skipped a very annoying attack where that would have froze me in place, and then you get to see like Susurrus's ultimate, like I'm a super villain attack, so obviously it's cinematic and you can't dodge it and you're just kind of stuck in place. So our main goal here is to just keep getting rid of these like little trash mobs. You know, we are also pretty incredibly powerful now. So we're just kind of one-shotting everything, and I'm just kind of forcing him around. I want him to show up. He should show up on... There he is. Oh, you're going to go on this side again? All right. I guess it wasn't really happy that I... Oop, that is the wrong magic. Oh, you'll be okay, buddy. You'll be all right. Calm her down. Yeah, with family and this firearm. So many good memes today in chat. I love it. You love to see it.
Pat, you're wonderful.
I am just a giant meme. I'm a cat boy on the internet and in real life, and it really confuses people.
Yeah, when did you become a cat? When did you find out you were a cat?
To be honest, it was either between that or a lizard person. But I started VTubing like, I don't want to be like the hipster guy, like, oh, you know, like I started VTubing before it was like super cool. But I, in terms of like male VTubers, definitely one of the first, I remember, like, cause at the time, like when I got into it, like almost got the full phase skip. Like, I had to specifically track down an artist that was like, oh yes, I can do like male themed VTubers. And I want to say that was end of 2018, maybe early 2019. So we have taken down the big bad, and now we are going to fight basically in person. And he has this really cool mechanic that, you know, as we have collected all of these super cool magical powers, we are going to fight him as he changes his weaknesses. So we're gonna.
I've played this boss in Metroid Prime.
Yeah, I remember like a Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest boss like this. And like I said, like sometimes like you just need that kind of tropey, feel-good stuff. And oh no, an unblockable attack where he kicks us down and gives us the normal bad guy dialogue. You are weak. Oh, relying on family and feelings. Feelings are for weak people. Blah, blah, blah. But that's okay. We'll show him what for. Ooh, there we go. I'll take that. I love a good extra damage. This has just been really weird. So, like, as I've been going through and, like, really kind of focusing on just making my gameplay more efficient, like, part of it has been, like, right now, I didn't even get an attack off. I was able to just, like, completely skip that particular phase just because of damage thresholds. So, as you get more efficient with, like, hitting your back attacks and really just kind of maximizing damage, you'll start to skip more and more of, like, boss phases, and it just changes a lot of like the combat. So for me, part of learning this run and working on making it more more optimized and figuring out quick ways to get through things, it's been like a treat because everything changes. It's not consistent, and sometimes it's just what you need in a speed run to keep it. I mean, like, that's the whole. Oh, that's time, by the way. Coming
All right,
up,
time.
actually.
GG.
Not quite yet. I have one cutscene to skip, and then on the fade to black here, we just have to, you know, do like one more button hold, and there we go. That should be fine.
Oh my god, I can't believe Cuff was the real baddie the whole time.
I know.
You know, the final phase of this boss is very amusing to me. Like, it looks fantastic, but there's always one thing I do, specifically in like JRPGs or something. It's the challenge. That is, guess how many wings the final boss is going to have. This one, I think it was 6. 6 was the correct answer for this one. There's one I got really close where it's like it was like, I guess like 3 or something, and it was like some odd number. But yeah.
How many wings does Kuja have? Who knows?
Yeah. Then it's like, are they going to be on arms? Are they going to be on the back? How many arms? Is it like four wings and 2 arms? All wings? You know.
You could have a distribution.
So many questions to answer. Trust me, Chad. This is a very fun way to have fun with RPGs and see, are you right? Are you close? Or are you not? Anyway, Kios, wonderful run. This has been a blast, start to finish. Like,
yeah,
you know, people have been dogging on this game, but it does legitimately look very, very fun. The speedrun looks freaking awesome. And, you know, honestly, go check it out. Like, seriously, not paid for by Square Enix. Like, legitimately, this game looks like so much fun.
I do have to say, I got my copy through Square Enix. Like, thankfully, they're really cool with working with content creators on stuff. And I honestly, at the time when this came out, I was probably one of the only few people fortunate enough to have a computer that could actually run it at its maximum settings, because I, unbeknownst to me, was very lucky to get my hands on some very, very nicely priced computer components. But yeah, I still love this game. And I think one of the things I'll do once I, you know, get through the GDQ cycles and the rest of the year is kind of start to see if there's ways to break the game, considering I've put thousands of hours in the Luminous engine. And part of just exploring games and how they work internally is like part of my enjoyment. Like I love broken mechanics in games. Like I don't know if they've been on the channel, but Dr. Swellman is a good friend of ours, and he's done a large series of essays on like how retro RPGs have been broken, and like why speedruns work. And like part of me really enjoys that stuff. And while we have cool showcases like this, like a lot of games aren't possible without that random YouTuber that found a weird glitch, or someone that spent hundreds of hours routing stuff or optimizing movement. Like it is such a community aspect to get to certain things. So I enjoy it. I enjoy the whole shebang.
Yeah, speedrunning ultimately is a cooperative effort. You know, we always talk about, you know, racing for world records or something, or you know, who quote unquote is the best. But really, the only reason the people who are like the world record holders are the world record holders is, you know, it's built on the shoulders of so many different people who've contributed to the games and have played the games and honestly watch the games, because a big thing that keeps speedrunning going, especially in the days of streaming, is, you know, all of you, everybody watching. You know, really, I think all of us, when we're playing a game and people get excited about seeing it, kind of like motivates us potentially to push it further than we normally would have. So big shout outs to everybody. You all are great. Of course, Gills, if there's anything last minute you would like to add, you know, about yourself, obviously we got the GDQ run coming up, so I can imagine we're going to be seeing some FF15 on your channel in the near future as you prep for that run.
I do have, yeah. If you want to check me out, I'm Kios Little Monster on every social media platform. If you want to see more of this game, and if you're a fan of RPG speedruns, RPG Limit Break is hosting Questing for Glory. I believe it's November. Oh dear, I should know this off the top of my head. I want to say, I know my run is the 6th, but it is going to be in 2 weeks. It is November 6th to the 12th on RPG Limit Break. So if you love like seeing cool games, it's not a charity marathon. It's just the community of RPG speedrunners getting together and showcasing some cool stuff we've been working on.
I love that. Yeah, definitely be sure to go check out Kios. And, you know, we can't forget about Lizzie Berry as well. Hello.
Go check out Lizzie.
Thank you so much for joining us. And Lizzie,
Thanks
if you
for
had any final thoughts.
having me to pop in every now and again.
Yeah, be sure to check out both of the wonderful people on tonight's. And everybody, don't forget, Hotfix. It's every week. And your subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, and bits cheered on the GDQ Twitch channel really help make this possible. We could not be hosting shows, hosting these wonderful people, having these random tangents as we've been having on this show specifically without your support. So, you know, please consider subscribing if you enjoy all of the speedrun content that you are seeing. And also, we are not done with Hotfix today, because after a little bit of a break, How to Train a Speedrunner, hosted by the one and only Church and Sarge, is going to be coming up after. Thanks again for watching, everybody.